Okay, Shalom. Shalom. Kwam Yasha'Allah. Koholoimla. Yahweh. B'Hashem. Yahweh Shai. B'Hashem. Rakha HaKodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth. And just want to say the water to all you H.I.M and Akwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai to the best of your ability. Really praying and chanting this place down. And, Shalom. Just wanted to get off into this quick article real quick, see where the Spirit leads. But this is basically the fall of our enemy. And this is by DPA. Netanyahu, or we call him Benjamin Netanyahu, warns of Israel's increasing isolation. Because there's a lot of people that's isolating Israel. I've been seeing numerous news articles, because we scour this news, man. You know, that's a part of our job, to be watchmen and to report to our people Israel, and just report to the world, you know what I'm saying, the downfall of Esau Edom's kingdom, which is the biblical name for the so-called white race. And these people right here, the Amalekites, they are the top tribe of the Edomites. These are the top of the so-called white people, and we have to report on, the downfall. And because this is a part of the prophecies according to, let me just get it real quick, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. This is a part of that work that we're supposed to do. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. And it reads, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." And so, what this is going into is that the Lord can't come until this part of the prophecy, along with other prophecies as well being played out, is that the Lord will not come until the man of sin, the son of perdition, be revealed. And that man of sin, the son of perdition, is Esau, Edom, the Idumeans. Esau is the progenitor of the so-called white race today. He became a nation. And he's that falling, man. He's not the falling, Salakia. The falling came through with the Israelites, when the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans fell. You know what I'm saying? And that's a part of the prophecy that has already played out. But this part of the prophecy that's playing out now is that the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, which is Esau Edom, the so-called white race. And they fallen. When I say fallen, they are seriously fallen. And it's not just them. They fallen all over the world. Everywhere that they're ruling, it's total chaos, man. Their governments are failing. They have uproars of the people. The people are burning. They're coming up against their governments. And so it's only a matter of time, man, before this place completely falls, because Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So just getting into a little bit of this article. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has warned of the threat of Israel's growing international isolation. Why are they being internationally isolated? Because the people are starting to see who they are. The Lord is starting to show who they are. They're starting to be revealed. That man of sin, that son of perdition, is starting to be revealed as being the wicked in the planet. Because the shit that's on TV, and they haven't been able to control it, as far as like a lot of these, it's just burst through the internet, that TikTok, Instagram, you name it. It's showing these little skinny ass babies over there being starved to death. They're showing constant bombing. It's showing, it's just too many stories that's coming out to show that these people are really just, for lack of a better word, savages, man. Straight up. Okay, but it says, Israel must get used to an economy with such sufficient characteristics. Well, you shouldn't even be getting my tax money anyway. As a so-called black man in America, why is my taxes going towards these people? Why? These people don't have nothing to do with me. I don't have anything to do with them. The so-called black community they say we're 13% of the population, so that means that at least maybe 9% of us or so have to be working, because that will get rid of the children part of it. You know what I'm saying? But the adults that's working, you getting millions and millions and millions of dollars per week off of the backs of so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and it's being sent to you to fund your bullshit. Y'all getting free college, we don't get it. You're getting free health care, we don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And a number of other things. You just living lavishly off of our money, But it says, Israel must get used to an economy with self-sufficient characteristics, Netanyahu said at an economic conference on Monday. Netanyahu said that there were fears that Israel could be blocked in the future, particularly in the defense sector. It would therefore have to produce its own weapons. Okay, well, if you were really truly the real people, biblically, as far as the prophecies, that the Lord would take you into the land, right? And that, all these nations will come pouring into you to seek the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai from you. But here you go, you're over there warring with everybody. The scripture says that, once Israel get there, there will be no more wars. But since you've been there, it's been nothing but wars. And you're the ones that's going to draw America into the last world war, World War III, that third war. The least of the flock shall draw them out. So you're not the people, you're imposters, man. Right? And see, it's starting to fall, it's starting to all fall on them. And they're going to come down with that great wrath too. Because they know that they have but a short time. Now, Revelation 12:12, this is why they're going to come down with that great wrath. And the elite, they really, the same way that they want America to fall, same way. It's all about that new world government, new reset, and that market of beauty and the beast. That Revelation 13:16, they want to implant and chip, especially you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But overall, the people of the world. But mainly you Israelites. And that's what it's all boiling down to anyway, man. But the world stage is starting to see them, that shameful spewing is really on them, man. It says, we are Athens and Sparta. Oh, now you're Athens and Sparta now. The prime minister said in a reference to city-states of ancient Greece. Sparta is particularly was known for its military-oriented society and warrior caste. It was so-called black people, man, back then. We will have to become Athens and Super Sparta. These people, man, through. The Israeli news portal Ynet News quoted the premier as saying, opposition politicians sharply criticized these remarks. According to Israeli media reports, the main indices of the stock exchange in Tel Aviv slipped on Monday in a reaction to Netanyahu's words. Yep. And this is the Lord, man. The Lord is switching things up, man. Netanyahu accused China and Qatar of investing huge sums of money to promote an anti-Israel agenda in Western media. He also described Qatar as one of the countries hostile to Israel. Well, isn't Qatar an ally of America that you just bombed? That you just shot missiles at and killed people in their capital? See, the world's starting to look at stuff like that. They're starting to look at the fact that, okay, you all over the place. You're blowing up people with pagers, children with pagers. You remember when you see a couple of months back, well, about half a year or so back, going into about a year almost, where they had those the mobile pagers. And they had the little bomb set up in them and shit, you know what I'm saying? And they called up the little pagers and set off the alerts and shit, or the notification, and the fucking pagers is blowing off little kids' hands and blowing off the people's hands, whether they were civilian or whether they dealt with, you know what I'm saying, the military at all. But they would, shit like that. People starting to see these bloody ass people in the streets, man. Where you see those, it's certain news you watch, where you can go on certain news channels, you can actually see a motherfucker with his leg gone, his arm gone, with guts hanging out of him, without the blur. So people starting to see these little kids and shit will have their, body missing. People are starting to see, like, okay, you're killing journalists. You're not letting the aid come in. All this food and medicine and water and all these different things that these people need, and it's being sent to them by the hundreds of thousands of tons. But what are you doing? You bombing that shit before it gets there. Now you have a lot of movie directors, film directors. It's a lot of people. These universities throughout the globe. They don't want to. They don't want to associate with Israel right now, because again, it's that shameful spewing. It just is what it is, man. It's not a good look for them right now. European governments are also under pressure from the Muslim minorities in their countries to take action against Israel. Yeah, because it's been ongoing. It's been going on for too long, man. Netanyahu said, according to the Israeli TV channel in 12, Israel is increasingly isolated internationally in views of its harsh execution of the Gaza war. At the beginning of August, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz announced a partial ban of German arms exports to Israel. So that, yeah, it's a lot of that going on too. Turkey, it's a few different countries that's like, nah, we not. Only ones that's still holding on and helping these people is America. Now let me get that shameful spewing, or the least of the flock, rather. Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh that he had taken against Edom, and Edom is the biblical name for these Edomites over there, and his purposes that he had purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. And Teman are like the wise men of the Edomites, as far as they're like that smart tribe, that's got some intellect. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. And that's the point. Israel, being the least of the flock, shall draw out the rest of these Edomites, or mainly the Babylonians here, these Americans. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. So both of them are going to be destroyed. But America is going to be destroyed in a way where it's not going to come back. It's just going to be a devoured desert, man. But Israel is going to get destroyed, but it's going to be in a place where it can be rebuilt. It can be, you know what I'm saying, it's just going to be mass destruction, but they're going to build it back up, for the children of Israel, which are you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So I didn't want to keep this long. Let me see if some of these other articles are in here. Yep, you got this one. U.S. Arab allies launches big attack on Israel, issues alarming warning. Netanyahu says criticism of Israeli attack in Qatar shows hypocrisy. Well, you shouldn't have done that, because that's an ally of America and your ally. Why would you just shoot a fucking missile into them people's city, man? Right? Arab Muslim leaders hold emergency talks after Israel's Qatar attack. Netanyahu's stark warning on Iran's nuclear threat. So it's a lot going on, man. See this one. Spain summons Israel ambassador following Netanyahu's blatant genocidal threat comments. See? Yeah, man, it's a lot going on, man. It's a lot going on. But again, like I said, I've seen a few articles today where these, matter of fact, I just seen one a little while ago. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so this is an AI overview. It says since October 2023, Turkey, Colombia, and Bolivia have either cut or suspended diplomatic ties with Israel, primarily in protest of its military actions in Gaza. Other countries have recalled their ambassadors or downgraded diplomatic relations. Now, this was 2023, but it says countries that cut or suspended ties. Turkey, on September 9th, 2025, Turkey cut all diplomatic, military, and economic ties with Israel, accusing it of genocide in Gaza. This move followed Turkey's earlier decision to cease all trade and close its airspace to Israeli aircraft in May 2024. So if Israel fly anything, in that area of Turkey, man, Turkey gun that shit down. And Turkey got some shit. Colombia, in May 2024, President Gustavo Petro announced that Colombia would break diplomatic ties with Israel, citing its siege on Gaza as a genocide. Bolivia severed diplomatic relations with Israel in October 2023, citing alleged war crimes in Gaza. This was the second time Bolivia had cut ties with Israel, having previously done so in 2009. Belize, in November 2023, they suspended diplomatic relations. You got Bahrain, Chad, Chile, Honduras, Jordan, South Africa. They recalled their ambassadors from Israel, indicating a significant downgrade in diplomatic relations. So it's a lot of stuff going on. It's not just this war. It's not just this war. Get out of here. Slovakia. Yeah, this is the one I was looking at today. Universities around the world cut ties with Israeli. They want you to pay for some shit, but you get the point. Universities around the world cut ties with Israeli academia over Gaza war. That's the Guardian. Yeah, it's a lot of them too. It's a lot of major ones. Yeah. So it's a lot going on right now, man. Francesca Albanese cut all ties with Israel. Yeah. People not. So when he said that they're being isolated, they really are being isolated, and it's not just where they are. They're being isolated throughout the world. Like it's like they're not actually really. They're just not safe like that. No matter where they are. They're kind of like blonde in their hair. Throwing dyeing their hair blonde, throwing those just looking like white people, like how they really are anyway. And they're just blending in, changing their names up. They don't want those Jewish names no more. They're just changing their name because they can blend in right with the regular white people. They can go to Texas, to Tennessee, get in a little accent. Just really mind their business. You know what I'm saying, in a sense. And all they have to do is just, drive that American car and just typically look like the typical, white man or woman. They're able to do that because, that's just the way that they look anyway, because they're Edomites. So you have a lot of them doing that. They was doing that during, German Nazi Holocaust area. You know what I'm saying? They, a lot of them changed their names. You'd be surprised at they're still Edomites. They're still so-called white people. But you'll be surprised at somebody that might have been a Goldberg that's now just a regular Miss Johnson or some shit. Or Mr., whatever. That's what they do. And it's actually smart and strategic. They're just being smart when it comes to that, because they get it. They understand that, okay, hey, look, people don't like us. We're not liked in the world. We got to, pretty much overall hide undercover. So, just a little quick something that I seen. I just thought this to be interesting because, you don't see a lot of these articles on the big time news, because this should have been televised here in the Americas, since they're lobbying so hard in America. They get taxpayers' money from America. So why don't we hear about this, other than going into some alternative news? And that's the reason why, the Lord have us scouring these news pages, man. As soon as the spirit hit, like, up, got something. Got his ass. Because he's being revealed. Gotcha. And they're not looking good right now, man. People don't. These Americans have lost all kinds of hope in them. Matter of fact, Trump even said that. I've done a lesson on that maybe last week or so, when he was talking about how he couldn't believe, he was in disbelief that Israel had lost its lobbying power here in the Americas like how they have. Because they used to be able to just say whatever, do whatever. And then, because they had the Christians behind them, because, these Christians here in America, they really believe that these are the holy people. And they're not. They're imposters. But they at least had that lie under wraps until they start doing all this shit they've been doing as of late. But that's the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, revealing them. And let me end out with this scripture. That's all that it is. It's just being revealed. Okay, Ecclesiasticus 25:7. There be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that have joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. And that's what we're witnessing, because this is our main enemy right here. It's the Edomites in general. But these people right here, these ones right here, the small hats, we call them small hats because they got them little bitty ass hats on. These ones, the naked face guys that supposedly be about the scriptures but don't have no beards on their face, which is a law, which can easily be kept. Nowhere in the scriptures does the Lord tell us to keep having no goddamn cap on our head like this. Where that shit come from? Right? So these are imposters, man. And the Lord is starting to, starting to reveal who they really are, man. So, and it's not going well for them. And they'll keep wars going. That's how we know that, it's just like with this Charlie Kirk shit going on and all these distractions. These people right here, they'll actually pull off a false flag, do some shit. They might actually have some a motherfucker make it seem as if Qatar or whoever, Yemen or Iran, has done a bombing here in the U.S. and next thing you know, this bitch is right back at war, World War III. But they got to implement that chip first, because that's really what's going on. While everybody is distracted on some bullshit, these people are putting together the plan to line all y'all asses up like cattle and throw your damn chip in your ass and tell you to go your way. You know, we know where you are now. You know what I'm saying? We'll plug you into the system, and when your chip goes green, that lets you know when you can come down to whatever county building and get your box of cheese and your crackers or whatever, your damn, your rice, some old ass noodles or something like that. Throw your ass a canned good in that bitch, and we're gonna keep you going. Don't worry about everything else. We got you. And that's pretty much what's going on, man. They're about to, come down with that great wrath and start to implant that microchip. It's got to be soon. It's got to be coming soon, because these wars and rumors of wars is just too hot right now. And the people are not paying attention to that. They really thinking about this nigga Captain Kirk, man. Captain Kirk is on their mind. They ready to go Civil War it out for Captain Kirk, not knowing that all your civil liberties have been being stripped from your ass, man. And by the time these real megas find out, it's going to be too late. But they're going to try and war it out, man. It's going to be Jacob's trouble going to happen. And it's going to be all-out war with all races, man. All nations of people in this place that haven't left here. But it's mainly going to be Jacob and Esau. But anyway, I'm going to end out there. I pray that the lesson was edifying. Kwame Yashala and a Bible ball.